All right, good morning, Coach Lunny. We'll get started with you if you're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I got my phone turned sideways.
All right. Okay, JJ, start us off.
Hey Barry, how you doing today?
Hey, doing good, JJ.
What's this week been like coming off that, unexpected cancellation of last week? How's this week gone for you guys?
Well, it's felt like a normal bye week to me, even though it was abnormal how it came about. It felt like that. We got a head start on Sunday night because we got a chance to plan over the weekend. For UTEP, and so we got a head start on Sunday night with practice. Monday was a normal academic day, their day off. Tuesday and Wednesday were really good practices. Today was one of our better practices. So I've been real pleased with the way we've gone about our business this week.
What goes into having a good practice? Jeff mentioned you guys practiced pretty good yesterday as well.
Well, I think it's energy. It's probably more than energy. It takes energy. It takes a little, passion and excitement this time of year because it's a grind. I mean, it's a grind, and we've been going at it for several weeks in a row, and the routine can become monotonous if you allow it, and so it takes energy and focus, and then really execution. That's what makes a good practice. Not the ball not being on the ground, throwing and catching, being clean on your assignments, getting a good scout look. A lot of it goes into it. It takes a lot of prep just to get ready for a practice, and our guys have done a good job from top to bottom this week. Our support staff and our GAs have done a great job with the scout team's done well for us this week. So that's what's made it a good week for us.
Hey, Greg.
Barry, Jeff mentioned to us that this is the first time the players have really had a couple days off since the summer. Did you feel like that was a needed opportunity for them?
I did. We were thankful that our administration had been able to piece together through our conference a 12-game schedule where a lot of people weren't able to play, that many games or get that, matched up like that. So, but we also knew that having 12 on the docket in a row was going to create a challenge. And we knew this time of the year, down the stretch run when the games get really critical, that was going to present a challenge for us. And so the way it worked out was probably about ideal for us to play several games in a row, then take a breather. Obviously, it was unexpected. It was unavoidable for us. And so it was what it was, but nonetheless beneficial for us.
Is that freshness more evident this week? I know you mentioned good practices, but just do you see kind of a different bounce in their step or anything like that?
I think so. I mean, part of it probably is to do with its homecoming and it's UTEP and it's we're at home and all the contributing factors there that would, lead to some excitement about a football game. And so, but on top of that, having a change of perspective for a day and getting fresher. The players got a couple of days off. Even the coaches were able to get away a little bit on Saturday to kind of get refreshed and refocused and have some family time. And so I think everybody's benefited from it, Greg.
Can that present a little bit of a challenge mentally, just having something that throws you out of your routine unexpectedly like that late in the week? How do you guys balance that?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think everybody that has been associated with college football just kind of immediately, I know the coaching staff did, just transition to, this is an open date. And our players are used to having open dates at this level. And so I think you just kind of, roll with the punches we have everything else this year and just said, okay, well, we'll treat it like an open date. And let's take a couple of days here to relax and recoup and get focused on the stretch run. And I think it was handled really well by everybody.
Did you get to do some self-scouting in this period? I know Jeff said that's an area where maybe you've been a little bit light at times this year.
Self-scouting?
Yeah. Just a chance to look at your tendencies and pick
up.
Yeah,
absolutely. We do that every week. And try to keep a tab on those things about any glaring thing that we may be tipping off from a tendency standpoint, run heavy, pass heavy, formation, motion shift, whatnot. And so, yes, it did allow us to give a little bit of extra focus on that. But we always pay attention to that in detail. I think more than anything, it was allowed us to kind of, look back and reflect a little bit about where we are, what we've been good at, what we need to focus more on down the stretch, what we need to focus less on. So all those would be, would go into the umbrella or under the umbrella of self-scouting. So yeah, we spent some time doing that for sure.
Jeff said the roster will still be thin in a few areas this week just because of the guys that you're missing. Do you have to alter even just practices this week at all to sort of make up for some of the guys who aren't here? Do you change the format in any way?
We didn't really have to. Practicing on Sunday, getting a little extra step on Sunday allowed us to maybe pull back a little bit more on Tuesday and Wednesday, just a little bit. And so that's really the only thing that we wanted to manipulate or change. But we were able to function as normal in practice, and to a certain degree we were. And so I didn't really notice much impact during the course of the week.
What impact will the guys who are not here because of COVID protocols have in the game Saturday? Do you anticipate anything in that way?
I don't know. It's probably easier to say after the game. I know we've had a very clear message from day one about being in a mindset to be the next man up and be ready to roll. And that we've had multiple guys have opportunities this year, and not just because of COVID related deals, but injuries or just, giving guys opportunity after a guy maybe didn't perform as well. And so whatever it may be, it's a constant message we preach. And so, at this point in the year, everybody's dealing with their own issues, whether it be injury or portal or, COVID or contact tracing or whatever it may be. So you just got to take the guys that are ready, that are available, and go get ready to play and try to play your best game. And we hadn't really had to manipulate much to get ready to do that.
Is it possible to play call around a roster deficiency in a certain area, maybe to scheme something up that puts less pressure on a certain part of the offense or a certain position group?
Yeah, I think you always have to be mindful of that. It's my job to put our players in the best possible scenario to be successful. It's their job to execute those plays and make those plays, so it starts with me of knowing, just as a baseline understanding, Greg, of knowing what our guys' strengths and weaknesses are. And now through 8 weeks of the season, have a much clearer picture of that. And then once you navigate the challenges of, injuries or whatever, COVID, protocol or whatever it may be, you've got to really look during the course of the week to see, making sure you're giving your players the best chance to be successful. And if that's limiting, and narrowing down maybe, a run scheme or a route pattern or, even a protection, then that's what we need to be doing. We're trying to be very mindful of that.
And Coach Traylor was telling us kind of the way things work this year. You might get guys back from injury or COVID protocol on a Thursday or Friday and have to play them Saturday, whereas in a typical season, you'd probably keep them out still. Has that been an adjustment for you, or is that a challenge when you go to game plan for a week?
Yeah, that's probably a little bit of a challenge. That's unique, and Coach is right about that, and that's happened a handful of times, where a guy gets clear later in the week. A lot of times that guy's been more available for the game than he has played in the game, and so we just try to keep our guys abreast of what's going on, and we haven't. We've got a very limited amount of new things that are going in each week. We try to, we've tried to do our base offense during the preseason part of it. We've continued to just try to add wrinkles to it, but the foundation of who we are hasn't really shifted or manipulated to the point where, a young man could miss, practices during the week and jump right into the game and know generally what's going on. Minus the specific looks that you're going to play that week. But there's only so many defenses that you see and structures. And so at the end of the day, it's just football. It's 11 guys, and they all have an assignment, and getting them pointed in the right direction and play with technique and leverage and see what happens.
Hey, JJ.
Coach, how is Frank practice this week, and how has he looked through these last 2 weeks?
I think he's had a good 2 weeks of practice. I think him, like a lot of our players and coaches, benefited from that little hiatus last week, and he came out this week and threw the ball, I thought, really well. Yesterday he had a really good day throwing the ball, and our other quarterbacks did as well, and our receivers and tight ends did a nice job catching the ball. So it's it's important to throw to win during the week of the practice, because, on Saturday, that's the name of the game. You got to throw in tight windows, and you got to be really accurate. You got to be running detailed routes, and we continue to harp and stress on that. And that has showed up in game some that we're going to need it to show up Saturday in a strong way.
Is Josh Atkins back?
He's trending in the right direction for sure. It's been a tedious recovery for him. He's worked really hard with our training staff, and he's certainly trending in the right direction.
Do you expect to have him at this point, at any point this season
I
available
think
to you?
so. Yeah, I do. Yeah, we expect that to happen for sure, and getting closer and closer, and all those surgeries and injuries are different in the way they recover and the timeline and all that good stuff. But he's certainly worked really hard, and he's certainly getting back where he's throwing the ball, and he's looked good when he's had those opportunities. So I think he's getting pretty close.
Okay, Greg, you want to wrap us up?
So, Barry, do you sense with the players any level of concern about, what if other positive tests pop up, or if anything has to happen on UTEP's end for whatever reason that the game gets postponed? Do you feel like the group is looking over their shoulder at all? Do you sense that at all?
I don't think so. I really don't. I think they see what's going on, around the country, and has during the course of the year. And it finally got us last week, after seeing from, looking out the window, so to speak, and seeing all this other stuff happen, around the country. And our guys have just done a fantastic job of protecting themselves, and we've had very little issues. And then it finally kind of reared its head. And you're seeing that to be a common theme, I think, with some of the teams across the country. And so I think they're starting to see that, this is just kind of the way it is right now. It's just the situation that is across college football in our nation. And our guys, all they can control is to be mindful of protecting themselves and trying to be very smart and wearing their mask and taking care of themselves and who they put themselves around. And they continue to do a great job of that.
All right. Thanks, Coach Lenny. We'll get Coach Nix on here in a couple minutes. I know he's walking back over to the building now.
Thanks, Barry.
Y'all have a good one. JJ. Okay, see you, Greg. Bye.
Continue.
All right. Good morning, Coach Nix.
Good morning.
There you go.
Okay. Got to get you fixed up here. All right. How's that?
That's perfect.
Good.
All right. We'll get started with Coach Nix. AJ. Oh.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, JJ?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. Appreciate you joining us. What how's your defense responded this week after, getting that abrupt cancellation last week?
The kids understand the importance of having the opportunity to play. We tell them nothing's promised to us, and obviously last week was a great example of being prepared for the unpredictable and taking advantage of every opportunity that we get. And our kids are, they've been really good about coming out, preparing, and moving on to the next opponent.
You feel like they were fresh a little this week? Were they able to benefit from that time off?
We don't actually know until we go out and play. I know from a mental standpoint, the kids seem to have a little bit more bounce. They enjoyed some time alone away from the game this weekend, and hopefully it'll show up on Saturday, a fresh defense that's ready to go out and perform at a high level for 4 quarters.
Hey, Greg.
Did you feel like your guys really needed that time off, just given the grind the season had been to this point with the 8 straight games?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I think our kids are mentally tough, and I think they prepared. Coach Fallow's done a great job in the weight room with these guys, getting their bodies hard and strong in a short period of time. And, you like to say, yes, the time off was great. But on the other hand, you don't know until you go out and play. But hopefully everything will work out in our favor, because that's something we can't control.
You mentioned that mental challenge. Is it tough for the guys to have a game postponed late in the week and then it throws off your rhythm? Is that a hurdle mentally?
Well, I think it is for everyone. I think even as coaches, handling any form of adversity, change in the schedule of what's being planned, I think that's tough on everyone, because you have to devote so much time into mentally preparing for a team and physically preparing that it's a toll on you. And I think maybe the time off helped relieve some of those things. And, we came back Sunday as a fresh unit, and a unit that had an opportunity to see some other defenses play throughout the weekend and, realize where we really stack up.
Yeah, how did the coaches try to maximize that time? Did you guys get a chance to do some sort of self-scouting and looking at your cell phone film at all too?
It's no doubt we did a very thorough job defensively, evaluating what we've done and where we're at this point. And, we tried to find out the things that we're doing poorly, how to fix those things, and how to expound more on the things that we did well. So, this thing, the more time you have, the more time you get to study your opponent and you get to study yourself. So hopefully it was beneficial for us and gives us a chance to be a much better defense going down the stretch.
Has maybe the thin roster in certain areas forced you to change anything about the way the practice format is run or how these workouts have been structured?
Coach Traylor does a great job of organizing our practices and knowing when to cut back, when to extend. And obviously what we do as coaches, we just coach the next guy. We coach the guys that's available, and we try to get them prepared to play the best football that they can. So, sometimes numbers do affect us, but it hadn't affected us enough where we changed our practice schedules.
Do you think you'll feel that all in the game on Saturday?
I hope not. I hope we don't feel anything but other than a good performance and a performance well enough to come out victorious. We can't control some of these things, and we spend a lot of time talking about controlling controllables, and the only thing we can is the amount of time it is between hearing kickoff and the way we play the game when it's actually being kicked off.
Is there anything you can change from a play calling perspective to account for maybe where you have less depth or to put less focus on certain position groups?
I call the game to give us the best chance to win. And we try to utilize what our kids do best, put them in those positions to make plays. And, hopefully that will be some type of disruption for the offense. But all in all, we try to do what's best for our kids, and we try to keep the playbook as broad as possible. Probably the first game of the season is the worst, in my opinion, of having enough volume to go out and execute and finish from starting the game to finishing. But since that point on, I think our defensive staff done a great job of making sure we have enough kids educated on different roles in case injuries take place. And, we have no excuses. It's up to us to go out and perform.
Along those lines, Coach was telling us because of the way the year has worked out that you might get guys back from whether it's injury or COVID protocols on a Thursday or Friday, and then they could be a part of the game plan Saturday, where in previous seasons they might still sit out that game just because they haven't had the practice time. Has that been a change or an adjustment for you at all through this season?
We hadn't had that happen for us defensively a whole lot. I think I can remember on one hand, and it was due to an injury. Peter Gray was able to come back and be a factor later in the week. But typically that's not the protocol. And typically that's a situation where a kid cannot go out and perform as well without the practice. So, we strongly encourage each kid that can go out and practice each day to has an opportunity to go out and play on Saturdays. And those guys who come back like on a Thursday or Friday are only coming back from a injury standpoint, a depth standpoint, if the game dictated where we had to have them. Otherwise, we try to leave those guys out and win with the guys we prepared with all week.
As you've sort of seen the team through this week and watched them go through some practices, do you have any sense that the players are concerned about the possibility of more positive tests popping up or this game getting postponed this weekend? Is that something that's in their mind at all through the week?
I hope not, because it's not in mine, and that's one thing we can't control. All we can do is wear our mask, try to stay health-free, try to do the things to hygiene in the proper way, and, continue our bubble of the people that we're surrounding ourselves with. Not to knock on wood, but our kids defensively have done a good job of, staying within the parameters of most of the situations this year. And, most of our time off or guys missing has been mainly to injuries.
Do you have to emphasize that with them this week, especially? Just, hey, stay within the protocols and keep focused on the task at hand here?
That's something that Coach Traylor's instilled in our team from day one. And we try not to get relaxed on anything that's team-related, health-related. So, no, it's no special emphasis this week. It's just a continuing emphasis that we've made throughout camp up to the current date.
Okay, anything else for Coach Nix? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Guys,
Thanks,
thank
Ty.
y'all. Thanks. All right, bud. Bye-bye.